So the first question, according to both Online Lecture and Kindred by Octavio Butler, how is the institution of slavery shaped by gender? I think that and my answer to question 1 and question 2 are probably going to go hand in hand. I believe that men's dominance over women and slaves kind of spiraled into, so men's dominance over white women and slaves. So their dominance kind of over the mistress of the household led to the mistress of the household feeling that they needed to have dominance over something because, they were, experiencing similar abuse to that like maybe a slave woman would feel. So, sometimes when you're being abused or you're being bullied, you want to have that same relief to inflict on somebody else. So then that would lead to the dominance over slave women, or I'm assuming mostly just slave women because that's who was inside the house. The second question, according to the reading, what role did white mistresses play in perpetuating the violence of slavery? White women were often more violent because they were face-to-face with the slaves on a regular basis, whereas like the males had other people working for them, so they could oversee like an overseer who oversaw the slaves. So the face-to-face contact allowed for the white women to kind of see like more things that the slaves were doing wrong. And, like I said in the first question, I'm sure they felt some kind of dominance that they don't feel on a regular basis because they are considered, not the head of the household in comparison to men. And so they felt like they needed to kind of show that they were dominant and that they could and are in charge of the slaves and that kind of thing. And then the last question, to what extent do you think American society, particularly white society, has grappled with the legacy of slavery and its effects on the persistence of anti-black racism and the racial wealth gap? So I really think that all of society has kind of had a hard transition because, you go from this entire race hating another race, it's hard. And then it wasn't even like it was an easy transition from slavery into freedom. It was slavery and then it was a freedom but with limited rights still. There was still segregation. There was still, the fight to be educated at the same level and be respected in the workplaces and stuff like that. And I think that transition has been so rough and hasn't really fully recovered because it is still new. I think it's a little cynical to say, but it may never really change because there's still people that pass down those traditions of, well, one race may be better than another race, or, a lot of the black community is not a lot of it, but there's still communities that are in poverty and in, a situation where they are still kind of in a form of slavery where their environment is really just not allowing them to progress the way it should. And with the wage gap, there has to be some kind of equalization there where everybody's on the same playing field, and that's not just for white men and black men, that's for everybody, women, men of all races. It kind of just needs to all even out, and I think I'm about to hit my limit, so I'm out.